Hi, good afternoon. Today on the 5th of July 2021, Monday, I'd like to do a topic called Fsbo, Fsbo, for sales by owner. So we have in the market use a different way of saying that this is for sale, but then in a way, Malaysia, we seldom see for sale by owner. So this for sale by owner is the topic of discussion today. Let me begin. Welcome to my channel. I'm Thomas Sim, PA2066. Today is 5th of July 2021. So Fsbo or Frbo, what are they? So we see on the left side the for sale by owner. So Fsbo pronounced as Fsbo. It's used mainly overseas, not so much in Malaysia. The equivalent for renter is Frbo, but Frbo is not commonly used in even overseas. But anyway, you can look for these two abbreviations in the Google search. They are all available for definition. So it implies that owners directly deals with prospect. So there is a implication in certain way related to our discussion this afternoon, whether when you see this listing and advertisement which mention Fsbo or Frbo in the internet portal or in a signboard in front of a property, should you as an agent call the owner or not? So is it right or wrong to make inquiry to the owner? So that's our discussion this afternoon. Although there is no mention of no soliciting, there is no mention of no broker also at the signboard or in the listing advertisement. Usually the owner prefer to go without agency service. So that is the background for this afternoon's discussion. So what is really the thing on the ground? In fact, the issue on the ground in practice is that listing by even for sale by owner or Fsbo indeed get a lot of calls from agents. So this includes also our negotiators, agents, as well as including all the illegals, freelance people out there. So soliciting for engagement is their intention. Mainly, they always call up the owner or the landlord saying that they have ready buyer or they have ready tenant. So in some scenario, some of the owners, landlord may view this as annoying when they say that they have ready buyer and ready tenant, although their intention behind this phone call as an agent, of course, cari makan is to try to persuade the owner instead of doing it themselves, the deals themselves or by owners, they pay the agent, so they ask for a commission, usually by saying that they have ready buyer or ready tenant. So in this scenario, we know that my previous video on why is estate agency practice regulated on the 2nd of July 2019, 2 years ago, indeed this issue became a discussion, and also I highlighted that it come out in the examination. Ready buyer, ready tenant in a way is in fact not right, as not allowed by the board, our regulator, Board of Valuer, Appraiser, Estate Agent and Property Managers. You can click to the link while go back to the previous video that I recorded. Look for the minute, around 20 minutes. So you can have the times stamp. You go to the bar at the bottom, slide it to 20 minutes, and you can go through the previous video discussion about this particular issue. So ready buyer and ready tenant, indeed in the practice on the ground is soliciting for listing. A lot of the case, the ready buyer thing or the ready tenant is not there. So they always use this as a method to sweet talk or persuade the owner or the landlord to give the listing to them. So this part, whether it is right or wrong to do calling to solicit and get a listing, I would like to break into two parts. One is, can you call a number where there is already put there for sale by owner or for rent by owner? Can you still actually call this number? Second, can you actually ask for listing being appointed to do your listing for the owner? So whether first part is allowed or whether both are allowed so this part, I think this is the objective of this video recording. So there is a issue of course overseas also in many countries, especially in the US where there are many laws. Certainly when the infringement of privacy, or when you have a signboard saying that it is by owner, then you need to be very careful. So agents in US, in the US, following their local laws and regulation, there are laws behind why you should or should not call when you see a signboard with for sale by owner. So first question, can you call? By right, if you look at the basis of an advertisement or a listing, the listing is an advertisement. So an advertisement is an invitation to trade. In where if you see an advertisement in the newspaper, we know that it is as an invitation, it's not an offer yet. So it's inviting the public to call that number to get to speak to the whoever put this advertisement. Hence, in fact, anyone can still call the number. So by right, even when you see for sale by owner, there is the intention or invitation. So this invitation is there for any prospect buyer for sale, of course, a prospect buyer to call the number to speak to the advertiser. So a prospect client can always call. Now in this case, if you are an agent or a negotiator and you have a prospect that you have a ready buyer in this case, a genuine, really sincere owners to come forward and ready to buy, then in such a manner you are really a prospect for actually this particular advertisement. Then however, if you really look at it from the cannot call to the can call, let's say we go down from the arrow cannot call to can call, the actual on the ground scenario is that if you are an agent, you always prefer that you can call to initiate a negotiation. Whereas as an owner, you would prefer that you don't want all these disturbances of soliciting or agents to call you, because you prefer to deal with the prospect without an agent. So in a sense, the number of agents, of course, there are a lot more number of agents compared to the number of owner. In this scenario, a person who put up an advertisement, he himself a single person, a one person alone, versus the group of potential agent that is eyeing this particular listing. So as myself an agent, I prefer to look at it this way. If I have a property myself as an owner, I would not prefer to deal with any agent, because it is my own choice to handle the property on my own. Rather, if you are not an agent, that means if you are not an experienced person in the field of estate agency, you may need still an agent to help you. So of course, some of the area is some owners eventually also would prefer some agent, a good agent to call them, especially in the later part where they could not sell their property. So politically, if I can speak for agents, I would say, well, it is good that an agent can try to call this owner, although with the signboard saying for sale by owner. So an agent, a good agent, may still want to try to talk to the owner and understand how he can help the owner. But again, owners are single one-person thing. So usually an owner, after having being bombarded and also solicited by many agents, he can be upset. And of course, owners are not united as like agents. So if you are looking at it from the numbers, likely the winner would be the agents eventually. But again, we are here not talking about what is the numbers of agents versus the number of owner. So probably even you have one or two very bad agents, the whole group of agents may be tarnished. Their reputation of professionalism may be tarnished. So likely owners are not welcoming phone call, especially when they already put up there as for sale by owner. So this is what is happening in the US. I follow Mr. Travis, who is a renowned trainer for broker license. In the US, there are state laws that governs this area where any signboard which has for sale by owner, they have strict rules not to call. So there is a national do not call registry. So if a number is actually in their national registry, then it is an offense to call that number. So the particular slide that I pick up from Mr. Travis is this area. National do not call registry, potential danger is for them not to check this list, and then they call up the owner, and the owner can report this particular case to the authority, and then they can be fined. And that amount of fine is quite hefty. So only in three conditions that they can call. One is this number is not in the National Do Not Call Registry list. Second is when this particular owner has done a maybe open house or has done an invitation that people go to view this place, and over a period of viewing, let's say about 3 days viewing, and then he has a book, then the person can put his number in the book that he has come in to view this house. And because he has come in to view this house, he need to eventually make an offer or eventually follow up with the conversation of the further inquiry to the owner of the house. So then he can call. But even that is also limited to a certain number of days. It's not forever. And the third part is that owner, he actually engaged someone earlier on. Let's say he has engaged an agent earlier on, and now he chose to put for sale by owner. So this particular agent who was appointed before can still call him because he actually was appointed earlier, and that was a time limit also for 18 months. So therefore, there is strict rule in the US for signboard or a advertisement that has the for sale by owner option. So can you solicit? Now the first question, can you call? We have answered already that question. That means normally if you have a buyer or you are yourself a buyer, you can call. Second is when you call, whether it is right to call and make an attempt for a conversation to gain trust of the owner and become owner appointed agent. This becomes an issue of soliciting. So can you, when you see a for sale by owner, call up the owner and first call the owner saying that who you are. Second is to show that you are interested to gain his trust and being appointed as an agent. So this part is called soliciting. Soliciting in the MEAS, in fact, has a definition. So to ask for or invite instruction. In the earlier 2014 definition, in fact, it clearly put down there invite estate agency instruction. So meaning as to agent, a negotiator calling up advertisement, talking to the owner or talking to the landlord, saying that I am interested to get your trust to become your agent. So this part, soliciting, usually tie in with situation of when a person go around knocking door to door without being invited. But in the case of an advertisement, because he has already advertised, we will consider this still as a soliciting or not. So this is a thin line to draw. So in fact, we have a lot of cold calling, like equipment seller or some of these door-to-door seller, salesmen. Without invitation, we do not have a signboard in front of the house. Without invitation, this salesman come and knock onto the door. So this is clear-cut soliciting. But although clear-cut soliciting, in Malaysia, there are a lot of this type of practices around. When there is already an advertisement in front of the house saying that this house is for sale, and you knock onto the door, it's actually not considered soliciting in a lighter margin of interpretation. So would you consider soliciting when he already put for sale by owner? Because he has put a standard of limited advertisement. He is not advertising to invite agent. So he did not say that he is inviting agent. So now you are soliciting as an agent. So is that wrong or not? So that is the big question. Right, no soliciting in the case of Malaysian Estate Agency Standard 5, 5.2.9 says that an estate agent must not directly harass any person in order to gain instruction, and neither shall he or she repeatedly try to gain instruction in a way likely to cause offense or annoyance to the person. So when a negotiator see an advertisement for sale, without saying that it is for sale by owner, he actually know that this particular house or property is open for sale. He can, as an agent, because he is selling houses, so as an agent, he can call up the number and say that I am an agent, I want to represent you. So in that sense, the interpretation is allowed. No strict interpretation of soliciting. However, when the situation is I am already putting up signboard where I am selling without an agent for sale by owner, then as an agent, when you call up and say that you want to represent him, that becomes soliciting, which is a local practice in Malaysia, which is a lot of things like that happening. Usually, you can get a way out by saying you are representing your client who is a potential tenant or potential buyer, a prospect tenant and prospect buyer. But if in such a scenario you are representing your client, you cannot claim from the owner. That means your professional fee or commission cannot be claimed from the owner, because you have been appointed by your prospect, and hence you bring your prospect forward so that he actually close the deal, and the prospect should pay you the agency fee rather than claiming from the owner. And a lot of time this can never happen, especially in residential property. The professional fee or commission will never come from the purchaser or the tenant. So in a way, if you look at the process of putting yourself forward as an agent talking to the owner, when the owner say, I do not want to have any agent representing me, and yet you are trying to gain this engagement to be paid a fee. So that is already offense, an offense in interpretation of soliciting, because you are soliciting for things that he doesn't in the initial stage doesn't want to offer an agent for an appointment. But again, the problem is a scam. A lot of time agents would always say, yes, I'm representing and I am now with the prospect to see your place. Then they bring their colleague, agent bringing their colleague, pretending to be a prospect, going to see this particular property and gaining trust from the owner. And from there on, he would sweet talk the owner. Maybe this first prospect is not interested, but I will follow up for you in case I have my second and the third prospect. And therefore, the owner is being cornered into giving commission and appointing this agent as the listing agent, which in a way was never his original plan. So I give you a scenario to see the differences. Agent, hello owner, I am so and so from this realty company. I call referring to your advertisement for sale. So the owner will say, what about it? May I offer you our service? We are very confident we could help you to dispose of your property at much better price than you are doing it yourself. So this is clear cut. When it comes as a Fsbo, this is a clear cut soliciting. It is a clear cut no. You cannot call a owner when he already put down there as for sale by himself. He doesn't want to appoint any agent, and yet you are offering your service. So this is against the MEAS. Second, when an agent say, hello owner, I am referring to your advertisement, is it okay to talk to you on this particular advertisement? Then the owner will say, well, who are you? I'm from, you have to introduce yourself as from an agency firm. Then he says, yes or no. So if he says, thank you, but no thanks, I do not need an agent, the agent has to stop there, because he already said that he is not interested to talk to an agent, while you are not saying that you have a prospect coming in to see the property. So this is scenario number 2, because as a negotiator, you call out this owner who wants to sell a property by himself, and you introduce yourself, but yet when he says, I do not want to, no thanks, I do not need a negotiator, you have to stop. Third scenario, when an agent call up owner, hello owner, I am so and so from ABC firm of real estate. I would like to show my client your listing. Is it okay? So when you have a client, when you have already really a person who is ready and able to buy the property and interested to see the property, then you are already doing your job as an agent representing your prospect client. And in case in this scenario, the owner said, well, I'm afraid I won't pay you commission because this is for sale by owner. So he can say that he is not going to pay you commission, and it is an agent's right to say, well, is it your choice? I'm okay, I'm already engaged by my client. I can bring my client to see your property, and in case the deal goes through, the commission and the professional fee will be claimable to my client, not to the owner. So if this is explained and the owner understands it, the level of communication is clear, then you can proceed to actually show the property. Number 4, this scenario is a way to get out. When you are an agent, I will likely say that this is the way to do it. Agent, hello owner, I would like to refer to your listing advertised. I am from which realty company? My name is so and so. Owner said, I am not interested to pay agent. When you hear this, you can explain. I'm offering you a client to have a look, and when the deal is through, you can decide later. But definitely you have to be clear that you are not going to disturb him. You are there to help him. It's just that if your client is interested, then he can decide whether he still want to continue this particular deal or not. So it depends on the owner. So if the owner trusts you much because of your way of offering help, he may open up and let you bring your client. And of course, he can still insist that he is not going to pay a fee for appointing you as an agent. So this is what is common. And now, if you see a Fsbo plus no soliciting sign, so if you see a Fsbo and then there is no soliciting, then it is a strict no. when the advertising is clear, meaning to say that there is wording like no soliciting, no agent, no broker, then don't call. Don't ever call or don't ever email or WhatsApp to the particular owner, because he already spelled it out very clearly. He is doing it himself. He doesn't want any agent. So it is therefore interpreted as he doesn't want to talk to any intermediary. This means that he would prefer to talk to the actual buyer or tenant himself. Maybe he will not get anyone. In some countries, in Western countries, because most of the tenants and buyers are represented by agents, in such a scenario, they will not get much response from their advertisement. Well, in Malaysia, because most of the buyer and the tenant contact the owner directly, so that is his choice, his right as an owner or landlord to talk directly to the prospect. So he can actually just deal direct with the purchaser tenant without any agent in between. And this agent can be also including buyer's agent or tenant's agent. Especially like Zillow or Craigslist in the US, this Fsbo and rental by owner is very common. Indeed, it is a ever-changing scenario of a business competition for the agents. The way I would see it is to become a buyer's agent or a tenant's agent. That means you get your tenants or buyer to pay you a fee. But careful, whether they pay or not, eventually they can say that they have no money already, because they already pay up to buy the house. They don't have much money left. So if not written, if it is only verbal, a lot of time you may not be paid. So the reason for some of these owners who doesn't want to deal with agent is because most of them are experienced themselves. So they have been in the investment business for a while, or property investment for a while. So they actually do it quite common with their own experience. So they do not need any agent to represent them. So we understand their position, and in section 22C subsection 2, notwithstanding this particular act, Act 242, owners are allowed to deal with his or her own properties the way they want. So there is no law that says property must be dealt through an agent. So my conclusion today is that the Malaysian scenario of Fsbo or the for sale or for rent by owner is that you can still call the owner when you see Fsbo, but be careful, you may get very rude owners because they are annoyed by all these agents calling them. So they can be quite rude to all these agents calling them. Owners are in fact seasoned investors. They are players. In this case, they probably handle their own houses, many of the investment houses, so they know how to deal with prospect. So don't try to engage this type of owners because they get annoyed and they can be quite vulgar. Really, if you really can have good buyer or good tenant that will sign in a deal for you, then I guess the way out is to charge your own client so that you protect yourself from being offended by the owner. If there is no broker sign and no such sign saying that no soliciting, you can call. But if you see that there is a non-broker sign or no soliciting, then please don't call. No point of getting yourself into vulgar language by the owner. And even that you want to call, just be polite so that you understand that what is Fsbo, and you actually say that I understand you, owner. I am calling you because I have really a interested buyer and then you explain that you understand that he is not going to pay you fee, and yet you still want to bring your buyer. So the owner on the other side would understand that he is not paying you fee, and if he thinks that you are a good sales person, you really honor your words, a really able buyer, then he probably allow you to bring for a viewing. However, there are a lot of experience that I got in the market that people would want to maybe save his face in the sense. So when you put an advertisement of Fsbo or for rent by owner, there will be many estate agents, negotiator calling up, and then you politely tell them that you do not at that time wish to engage anyone. Then they will say, well, good luck. So this good luck, maybe their intention is good, saying that they are wishing the owner having good luck. But then if you think about it, if you read the 4 different scenarios here, you may see it getting backfired. Good luck in your future undertaking. I think this one, if you speak to a student or some colleague going to another greener pasture, then you say good luck in your future undertaking. I think people would take it as really good luck. Good luck in your examination, for example. But if you think about those good luck, well, good luck, you can try. Good luck to you. You don't want agent, good luck to you. So this type of good luck, in fact, is negative connotation. And when a person, when an owner hear this from an agency, especially he already know your agency name, he already know you as a negotiator, he will feel bad. And when he feels bad, in the future, you will not get him to appoint you anymore. So this type of wording, good luck, there is a big danger of using this good luck. Thank you very much. I am Thomasin, PA2066. This is my number as displayed. I have a few websites I have done over time, and hopefully we can see the work in my websites when it benefits you. Thank you very much.